What's good, you guys, and welcome back to the channel, and happy new year. And we all know in the beginning of the year, that's when motivation to lose weight is at its peak. And with all that inspiration and motivation in the air, I just thought it would be cool to go down memory lane and say my weight loss story once again in hopes to inspire anyone starting off their weight loss journey in 2024. Let's get into it. Alright, so the early stages of my life from 0 to 10, I would say, I was normal kid weight. I actually remember like 6 or 7, I had abs, so that was like crazy to me looking back. I was active, I was in basketball at the time from 0 to 10, and I would say 3rd grade is probably when I started to gain a little kid weight, but it was nothing serious. You know, all little kids, they have that little kid belly or something. I would say around ages 10 to 18, that's when I saw like my weight increase. I started to binge eat, but it still didn't get out of control because I was still in football, band, and basketball. But I remember middle school when I had my first like embarrassing time being the biggest kid in the class. And it was when, I don't know if you guys had this at your school, when the desk, the part where you ride on and the chair were both connected, and I sat in it and it snapped and trapped me in the desk, and like the teacher had to like help me get out of that desk. So that was the first time I was like, that's pretty embarrassing. So I was probably wearing an XL. I don't know how much I weighed because I would never step on the scale, but I was probably wearing an XL at the time. And then I went to high school, and I remember 9th, 10th grade, might have been 10th grade, I was wearing the same size clothes as my dad at the time, which was a fully grown man. And then by junior and senior year, I was wearing shirts that were bigger than what he was even wearing. So I was wearing the biggest shirts in the house at the time, and I was like junior and senior year of high school. Now, once I graduated high school, that's when the weight gain again really increased, because one, I wasn't active anymore. I wasn't in any clubs or sports anymore where I moved my body, and so I was just at home binge eating. That's when you really have complete control over your life. So you know, you don't have your parents guiding you in the right direction, so I could eat whatever I want, when I wanted, how I wanted. And I was just binge eating more and more and more. I was definitely well over 300 pounds into the 4XL shirts. Then my job was sitting and driving, so I didn't even walk in my career. So I was just at home eating, staying on the couch, get up to go to my car, sit and drive and deliver, and then come home, sit, eat. One of my go-to meals, I've talked about it before, was lunch, 2 double cheeseburgers, 2 McChickens, and then go home for dinner, have a whole pizza, top ramen, tons of desserts, a gallon of apple juice. That was my favorite everyday meals, as you would say. Eventually, I would barely even make it to the couch each day because I would just want to stay in bed, watch TV, and eat. That was my comfort zone at the time. And then I would say around 22, 23, I went back to school to do the career that I'm doing now. And I always was like, okay, I'm going to start losing weight before I went back to school. And then I was like, well, right after school, then I'll start losing the weight. Just pushing it off. But in order to do my clinical rotation, I had to be seen with my PCP and get blood work done. And obviously at the time, I'm weighing over 400 pounds at this point. And he suggests that he wanted to check my A1C naturally because I was obviously way above my BMI. And so he had some concerns. The back of my neck was black, so that wasn't a good sign. I had blood in my urine. And so it was all signs that, you know, it needed to check my A1C. When I got my A1C numbers back, I was in pre-diabetes range, and he said, hey, if you don't start a lifestyle change like immediately, in 6 months I'm going to check your blood again, and then if it's still like this, you're going to have to be put on medications. And I was in my young 20s, and I was like, already wanting to be on medications was insane to me, because I had older family members in their 40s, 60s, and 70s who were on diabetes medications, and I saw how their life was limited, and I'm starting 20 to 30 years early before them. So I was like, okay, this is a sign that you need to change, because I did not want to lose limbs, and I did not want to be put on medication for something that I can control. And that was my biggest fear. So I remember I finished out that year of schooling, and the new year of 2020 was approaching, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna set my New Year's resolution, like everyone else does, to really lose the weight. And 2020 came in, and I started for, I would say, the first couple of weeks to a month being very strong. I remember I lost about 20 pounds, and I was excited about that, because I never lost more than 10 pounds previously and kept it off. I would always lose 10 pounds. Sometimes I would lose that 10 pounds in a week because that's so much to lose, but then I would gain it right back because I would binge eat the next week because I starved. I would eat only like 1,500 calories a day, which is horrific to do. You have to be in a calorie deficit, but you want to make sure that you are in a healthy calorie deficit. Did my first month or two, I was like starting to fall off the wagon. I would say I lost 20 pounds, and then I gained probably 7 to 10 pounds. And then right when I was starting to like fall back into my old habits, the pandemic started with COVID, and they said those who were diabetes, obese, sickly, had a higher chance of getting it and having serious complications. So that put another fire into me. And so I really took it serious that time and got a gym membership, started working out, and really took it serious even more so. But then with COVID happening, they shut down the gyms, as we all know. And so normally I would let that shake me and be like, well, the gyms are closed, I just gotta wait it out. And I refused. So luckily my brother had a gym in his house, in his basement, and I would work out there, and that's where I lost like 50 to 60 pounds. And I was just very dedicated to still go there every day, work out, eat right. I downloaded the MyFitnessPal app and tracked my calories and lost my first 50 to 60 pounds there. Then slowly the gyms opened back up and you could work out, but with a mask. So I was in there with a mask, working out, lost 100 pounds. I was super excited to lose 100 pounds. I was first excited because I was at my heaviest. I was 440 pounds. I was excited to finally drop to the 300s. And then I was happy that when I lost my first 100 pounds, I was very excited about that. And then I kept going, and it got easier to me as I was seeing the results. And that's what I always say to anyone starting out your weight loss journey. When you start seeing the results, when you start seeing your clothes be big, baggy on you, and you have to buy new clothes, that feeling is amazing, and that will motivate you more than seeing any story or any quote. Your own self being your own motivator is the best thing that you can ask for. And then I just kept it up, got into the 200s. By then, everyone was noticing my drastic weight loss. I was feeling so much better, and I went back to the doctor, and the doctor told me that I wasn't pre-diabetic anymore. My numbers were all good. He was stunned that I did it. No one has lost it like that straight up before. Usually they're on medications. This was before the great Ozempic craze and all that, so it was crazy for him to see someone do it naturally. But one thing that I will say is the weight was falling off in the beginning of my weight loss journey, because when you're 440 pounds, just switching from apple juice to water, you're going to lose weight like crazy. It just because you had so much weight to lose. When I got to the end, it started getting tougher and tougher, and I had to switch up my diet. I had to switch up exercising and really grind to get to the 220 range. And once I finally did that, I felt so good about myself. I felt like a sense of accomplishment, and it felt really good to do that. But once I did lose the weight, and one warning sign that I want to say is, you think that your soul, like all your problems in your life, stem from your weight like being heavy, because you're like, oh, well, if I lost weight, I would feel better myself and all of these opportunities and blessings will come to me. And it's just not the reality. The issue was not me eating and everything like that. It was my relationship with food. So I had to figure that out. That's luckily the new job that I got provided therapy. So I started getting into therapy. I started looking at stuff online. I started reading different books about eating disorders and why I was using food to cope with my reality. So I was eating to numb pain. I was eating for happiness. I was eating for just entertainment purposes. And so I started to funnel my entertainment through something else, like through like this channel, like having a community to be held accountable and help others. And along this journey too is very important. And then going to the gym, having a routine is very important to me, because having a consistent routine will help you when you don't have motivation, because you cannot have motivation but still go to the gym. You cannot have motivation but still eat within your calorie deficit. You cannot have motivation and still go to therapy and get better. So I would say that is the true blessing of this whole experience for me, is that I'm figuring out my tics, figuring out mental illnesses per se, and getting help that way is very encouraging, as well as this channel and building this community. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to another video, and a special thank you to anyone who's viewed my videos last year in 2023. I just hopped on YouTube last year, and it's been a fun journey so far, evolving in this space, and all the positive feedback and questions and community that I built that last year has meant so much to me. And I want to continue it. There's going to be more fun episodes. There's going to be more of the DJ's Take with my cousin Donnie. So this year is going to be a very exciting year, and I'm excited for you guys to join me. And for anyone out there that is starting the New Year's off with a weight loss goal, stick in there and don't beat yourself up if you start failing. Like I said, in 2020 when I started failing and I gained weight. Don't let that discourage you. Just hop right back on the train and keep going. You got it. Thank you for tuning in once again. If you enjoyed this video, you will like this episode where I'm talking about how I gained 220 pounds. And if you're a music lover, like I mentioned, me and my cousin have a show called The DJ's Take, where we talk about what's trending in the music world. Just click that video or go to the DJ's Take playlist. See you next time.